Hi everybody, welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. Today is Monday, March 16th, 2020. Last week was quite the week. We had quite the weekend with lots of updates rolling in as we're figuring out how to tackle the coronavirus here in Ohio. We've got lots of updates for you. We'll get you up to speed on exactly what's going on. First, we'll tell you exactly where things stand in terms of orders from the state and what you can and cannot do right now. We also have resources that we'll discuss for people who have been impacted and that sort of thing. We'll let you know where you can get help if you are one of the people who is impacted by these rules and these closures and cancellations that are happening. We're also going to bring in our 3 News sports analyst, Ben Axelrod, to talk about the NFL's response to what's going on with the coronavirus around the nation. Also, today is the start of free agency. We'll take a little bit of a break to find out exactly what's going on with the Cleveland Browns related to free agency here in Northeast Ohio. And then we're going to talk about some things that you can still do while you're social distancing, which is the word that we're using to describe this time that we're taking to ourselves to sort of distance ourselves from other people in order to contain the spread of coronavirus. And also some ways that you can maintain a little bit of normalcy. We know St. Patrick's Day is a huge holiday here in Northeast Ohio. Cleveland really kind of goes in on St. Patrick's Day, so there are some ways that you can still get your St. Patrick's Day fix throughout all of this, even though the bars and restaurants will be closed. And then we're going to end things on a good note and tell you about an incredible showing of generosity that happened here in Ohio, just a little bit south of us, while we also ask you to share with us the ways that you're staying connected emotionally while we deal with this social distancing. So we're going to start right now with what we know right now in the state of Ohio. Based on Ohio Department of Health numbers, which are updated every day at 2 p.m., there are 37 confirmed cases in Ohio. We actually know this morning there are now 38 cases because the Geauga County Department of Health confirmed this morning that there was a case. This was the statement put out by Geauga Public Health. Models suggest there are more people in Geauga County who are already infected and contagious, but who are experiencing such mild symptoms they have not sought medical care and have not been tested. Planning is currently underway to increase access to testing. Here in Northeast Ohio, as you know, we do have drive-through testing available at some facilities. We've got information about all of that on WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Also, now's a good time to remind you that if you want links to the stories that we're talking about right now, you can text the word NOW to 216-344-3300. Just text the word NOW to 216-344-3300. You get links to all of these stories. And if you want the most up-to-date stories that we're filing all day long related to the coronavirus, you can text the word FACTS to that same number. That's the word FACTS, F-A-C-T-S. And remember, we are focusing here on bringing you facts, not fear, keeping you informed so that you can be prepared as we handle these precautionary measures to help contain the spread of coronavirus here in Ohio. So right now, the virus is confirmed in 11 counties, actually 12 counties, because we're now adding Geauga to that. So that's Belmont, Butler, Cuyahoga, Franklin, Lorain, Lucas, Medina, Stark, Summit, Trumbull, and Tuscarawas. That's according to the Ohio Department of Health, plus the information that was released by Geauga Public Health. Right now, there are 361 people under investigation in Ohio. These are people who have been tested for COVID-19 coronavirus. They've exhibited symptoms of respiratory illness, and within 14 days of those symptoms, they've either traveled to China or been in contact with someone else who has tested positive for coronavirus. Right now, we have 333 people under health supervision. So these are travelers who were referred to the Ohio Department of Health for monitoring. These are travelers who have completed a self-monitoring period and are not exhibiting symptoms of the illness. Those 333 people, just so you know. So that number is coming from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Division of Global Migration and Quarantine, as well as travelers who have voluntarily contacted local health departments after arriving here in Ohio. So that's kind of where the numbers stand right now. Again, we do expect these numbers to go up. We just kind of know that's going to happen, but what we're doing here is trying to contain the coronavirus. That's what our officials are doing to help prevent deaths. So as of right now, there is a ban in the state of Ohio of gatherings of 100 people or more, and the CDC is now recommending that gatherings of 50 or more actually be canceled, and that's for a period of the next 8 weeks. So that's the latest recommendation from the CDC. We'll see what the governor has to say about that in his press conference if he does address that at 2 p.m. We'll be bringing you that live as well. Ohio really leading the way here. Lots of states following suit. Governor Mike DeWine was on national news organizations over the weekend taking questions from reporters and sort of outlining how much of a role the national government has had in sort of shaping what we're doing here in Ohio. And as of yesterday, statewide, bars and restaurants are closed to the public. That began at 9 p.m. yesterday. We've also made some changes here. Governor DeWine has made some changes to unemployment laws here in Ohio. Effective immediately, people who are quarantined by health officials or by their work are eligible for unemployment, and he is waiving the requirement that you be actively seeking work while you're receiving those unemployment benefits. Also, this applies to companies that are closed due to COVID-19 coronavirus concerns. And there is usually a 1-week waiting period, by the way, before you can receive those unemployment benefits, but that has been waived as well. So those people who are affected can start receiving unemployment benefits immediately. The Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services is really working hard to get those benefits to people. You can apply online. That website is unemployment.ohio.gov. Again, that is unemployment.ohio.gov to apply for those benefits if you are someone who is quarantined either by a health official or by work, or who is out of work related to closures related to keeping the coronavirus contained here in Ohio. Now remember, establishments can still stay open for takeout and delivery. So the governor is asking that we please, put some energy into our economy in that way. If you have a favorite local spot, consider getting a gift card. Lots of people are recommending that so that we can keep things going as normally as possible here in Ohio while we're spending a lot more time at home. Here's also good news for people who are in the bar industry, because St. Patrick's Day is such a big holiday. Ohio is actually offering a one-time liquor buyback option. This is for bars and restaurants who have, stocked up on lots of liquor ahead of the St. Patrick's Day holiday, which is a big drinking holiday here in Northeast Ohio. And, as we have reported on in the past, colleges are taking classes online. The University of Akron has actually decided to extend that all the way, officially as of today, through the end of the school year, no matter what. So classes at University of Akron will be online throughout the rest of the semester. Today is when those K through 12 school closures start. That's effective at the end of the school today, the end of the school day today. Keep in mind that Governor Mike DeWine did say over the weekend that he does anticipate it as possible schools to be closed for more than 3 weeks, and that we should be prepared at this point for schools to be closed through the rest of this school year. So keep that in mind as you make plans. He did also point out that daycares are not closing right now, but that is coming, and also urging parents, if you can possibly, to take your children out of daycare, but that those closures would be coming, along with senior centers and senior daycare facilities. Those will also be closed. They're not closed right now, but that is coming so that you can start making preparations and thinking about that for the future. So I'm just going to share a couple quotes with you from Mike DeWine. He says, he acknowledges, what we've done this week is drastic action, but we're taking these steps to save lives. With no intervention, we could expect 40 to 70% of our population would contract this virus. We've made dramatic interventions to make a difference and stop our healthcare system from imploding. Not to add any more alarm to people, because what we are doing is sort of on the leading edge of the nation in terms of precaution and taking steps in order to contain this. But DeWine says this: every day we delay, more people will die. If we don't act and get some distance between people, our healthcare system in Ohio will not hold up. The loss will not only be those impacted by COVID-19, but the danger is also to everyone else who needs hospital care for other reasons. So DeWine making an important point there, that what we are trying to prevent here is our healthcare system from being overwhelmed. So while some people may think that these measures are really drastic, and in truth they are drastic measures, while some people may not necessarily understand, that's the point. The point is prevention here. And, just acknowledging the fact that it's going to take us a little bit to wrap our minds around this, but this is where we are. So that's where we are today. Okay, now we're going to bring in our 3 News sports analyst, Ben Axelrod. And, in keeping with the social distancing here, you're going to see a much wider shot than you usually see. Ben's at least 3 feet away from me. That's what we're doing here at the news studio. In public, it's recommended you keep 6 distance away. So that's what we're doing here. So, Ben, tell us what's going on with the NFL.
Yeah, while the rest of the sports world has shut down, the NFL is still chugging along. The start of the new league year begins on Wednesday at noon, But what they have right now is called legal tampering, where teams can negotiate with free agents and negotiate trades with other teams as well. None of them become official until Wednesday, but the Browns have been active early, and everything's kind of business as usual for the NFL right now.
So what are some of the big moves that we're seeing related to the Browns that we can expect to be finalized?
Yeah, they actually, according to multiple reports, came to terms with Austin Hooper, a tight end from the Atlanta Falcons, made him the highest paid tight end in the NFL. He's a Pro Bowl caliber tight end, one of the best tight ends in all of football. So he's another offensive weapon now to add along with Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry and Nick Chubb to surround Baker Mayfield with, what should be, in theory, one of the most dynamic offensive skill sets and most dynamic offensive collections of talent in all of football.
And is there anything that we should be keeping an eye on in terms of players that we might lose through this free agency period?
Yeah, I mean, Joe Schobert's a free agent. Rashard Higgins is a free agent. They're right now, I mean, they could sign with a team right now and make it official on Wednesday. They are right now, not under contract with the Browns now. They are full-fledged free agents. Christian Kirksey, who got released by the Browns last week, who we talked about last week, he signed with the Green Bay Packers today. And that actually can become official because he was released. So he wasn't, it wasn't a situation where his contract expired. He was released. The Browns released Morgan Burnett, who was their starting safety at the start of last season, who tore his Achilles in that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers that ended with the Myles Garrett fight. And then they tendered a restricted free agent offer to Kareem Hunt, which basically means Kareem can sign with other teams right now, but because he's a restricted free agent, the Browns have the right to match that contract and keep him under those terms. So it was kind of a formality. If the Browns do decide to let him go, they'll get a second-round pick now from whichever team signs him.
Okay. Are you getting any kind of indications about the Hunt situation? Do we expect him to stay?
I would expect him to probably stay in Cleveland on a one-year deal. I don't think anybody's going to be in a big rush to sign him to a big money offer that the Browns would have to decide, for teams to give up a second-round pick to get him, that's a pretty big price. So if I just had to guess and take an educated guess on where this is headed, I would guess Kareem Hunt will be back on a one-year deal.
Okay. And then looking ahead past free agency to the NFL draft, what's the NFL's take on this right now? What do we expect to see in Vegas?
Yeah, so the NFL draft was scheduled in Las Vegas from April 23rd to April 25th. We already saw it was going to be this glitzy, glamorous event where on the Las Vegas Strip with players taking, I think, boats basically across the Bellagio fountain. That's not happening. They're closing the NFL draft to the public. The NFL draft is still happening, though. It's still happening April 23rd through the 25th. It's just not going to be a public event as it has been since I can remember. They're still working through the logistics of how they're going to televise this. They are going to televise it, but they're still kind of just working out the odds and ends as far as what an NFL draft that's not a public event, what's that going to look like?
Well, we're definitely learning a lot about staying connected online and through social media for sure.
That's very true.
In these times. Okay. Ben, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Of course.
And we've got all that information up on WKYC.com. You can find those stories there. If you are at home, because many people are working from home right now, and many children potentially are already at home if you didn't have school today, we are keeping an eye on things that you can do to keep yourself occupied while you are social distancing, while you are self-quarantining. Here's a pretty cool thing that the Cincinnati Zoo is doing. They are starting a home safari Facebook Live. This is to keep kids active and mentally engaged during their time off from school, because we don't necessarily know what that's going to look like. We've heard things about education continuing, but we're not exactly sure what the access is going to look like for at-home learning. So in the meantime, if you are in that designated spring break period before that gets extended, or if at-home instruction hasn't started, or if that's not something that's in the future, in the foreseeable future there, Cincinnati Zoo will be live streaming several animals and exhibits. That is starting today at 3 p.m. That's going to be every weekday at 3 p.m. And they're kicking it off with a little bit of a celebrity, Fiona the hippo. Fiona is a very big deal. She was born prematurely. She made history as the first Nile hippopotamus to be born at the Cincinnati Zoo in over 75 years. So that's who you can expect to see today at 3 p.m. And you can learn a lot more about all the animals at the Cincinnati Zoo. Some other things that you can take advantage of. There's a local yoga studio called Bliss Studio that's offering virtual yoga instructions. The world-renowned chef Michael Simon from here in Northeast Ohio, he'll be sharing at-home cooking tips on a live stream. That's going to be at 5 p.m. every day. And then we've also got virtual museum tours. Plus if you want to get some shopping done, if you want to support a local organization, there is a clothing store in Lakewood that's called Fetch & Co. And they are offering private shopping sessions. So the cost to take part in one of these private shopping sessions is $50. That $50 is waived if you do spend $200 or more in your shopping session. And the private shopping session includes Prosecco. So you can have a nice drink, do some shopping, put some money into the economy. If you want to get a little bit out of the house, but you want to make sure that you're in a controlled environment where you can safely maintain that social distance of 6 feet. So if you're interested in that, you can email fetchandtrader@gmail.com, or you can call 440-462-9124. Again, that phone number is 440-462-9124, and the email to contact for one of those private shopping sessions is fetchandtrader@gmail.com. Now, as we did talk about, St. Patrick's Day is tomorrow, so a lot of people are disappointed that the big parade is canceled. So we are working on a story right now about all the ways you can get your corned beef hash. That is a tongue twister. You can get your corned beef hash fix even though restaurants will be closed for St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. Keep in mind they are open for takeout and delivery, so you can patronize those in that way. We've got that story coming up for you on WKYC.com and our WKYC app. One thing that we are asking people, we are maintaining the social distance right now, but that doesn't mean that we have to keep emotional distance. Mental health is incredibly important. It is on par with physical health. So, we're reaching out to people to find out ways that they're still connecting even though they can't necessarily physically be in the same space right now. Some people, for example, are having virtual dinner parties where they're cooking dinner together over video chat and then sitting down to eat at the same time, enjoying conversation in that way. So we reached out on social media. You can find this on my Instagram page at _Stephanie Haney, and then also on our WKYC page on Instagram. We are WKYC3. So we're asking for the ways that you are maintaining that emotional connection while we're social distancing. One response that we've gotten so far is that people are calling, making an effort to actually make a phone call rather than texting. Also, FaceTiming is very popular. Just taking that little extra step to stay connected with people during this time, when we all need a little bit of support. And just a little reminder here not to be afraid to speak up. If you do need support, reach out. If you need help from a professional, lots of mental health professionals are offering remote services at this time. And to check in on people. If someone crosses your mind, check in on them. There's no time like the present to do that. And we want to end things on a good note here for you, so we want to share a story with you of incredible generosity that happened in Columbus. Yesterday afternoon, the information came out that bars and restaurants would be closing as of 9 p.m. And down in Columbus at the Coach's Bar and Grill on Bethel Road, a patron who was out and about decided to kind of take care of the people who were taking care of that person at this time. So there was a $30 check, and that person left a $2,500 tip and asked that tip be split amongst the employees that had helped him that day. And the owner, Benny Leonard, was just overcome, so he shared this on social media, talking about there were tears of joy and what an unbelievable act of kindness on just a really weird day for everybody that was. This is what Leonard said. We've got unprecedented times going on. We've got people fighting over things and so on and so forth. And to have a guy show up and care enough about people that give him a beer and a hamburger once in a while, that means a lot. And it's really humanity at its best. So let's all keep that in mind and kind of channel that energy as we move forward to get through this together. We'll be bringing you the latest information that we can on all of our TV shows on WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/user/WKYCTV. If you're watching us somewhere else today on YouTube or our website or our app, you can also find us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/WKYC Channel 3. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. My Twitter and my Instagram is _Stephanie Haney. You can find me directly on Facebook at facebook.com/TheStephanie Haney. Thanks for joining us today for 3 News Now. Come back with us momentarily. We are expecting the governor to go live with a press conference right around 2 p.m. Thanks.